Hi everyone, welcome back to OMC, Mary Pope Osbourne's Magic Treehouse number 30, Hurricane Heroes of Texas. When we finished chapter 2, we had found out that Jack and Annie had arrived in Galveston, Texas in the 1900s. So we're going to start with chapter 3, Seek High Ground. It doesn't look like a day for a huge disaster, said Annie. Outside the cafe, people were clinging to their wind-blown umbrellas. But no one looked scared. Some even laughed as a man chased his cowboy hat down the sidewalk. At the cafe counter, a policeman was eating a sandwich and joking with a waitress. He didn't seem worried. No one seemed worried. Customers were cheerfully chatting with each other or reading newspapers. What does a newspaper say? Asked Annie. I'll check, said Jack. He jumped up and grabbed a copy of the Galveston Daily News from an empty table. He sat back down and scanned the front page. Near the bottom was a small headline, Storm in the Gulf. Listen, Jack said to Annie. He read aloud. The awaited Gulf storm has moved north over Cuba. The Weather Bureau reports no new information about the storm's movements. Most likely, it changed course before reaching Texas. Jack put down the paper. That's so wrong, he said. It's heading straight for Galveston. I don't get it, said Annie. Why doesn't the Weather Bureau know that a terrible hurricane is coming? I guess because it's 1900. They didn't have radar or satellites, said Jack. They didn't have computers or TVs or weather apps or... Okay, got it, said Annie. Jack picked up their book again. His heart was racing as he read aloud. On September 8th, Galveston was completely unprepared for a terrible hurricane. For 8 hours, raging winds and water rushed across the island. Thousands of lives were lost in the storm surge. Thousands of lives? That's terrible, said Annie. What's a storm surge? It's when high winds push the ocean water over land, Jack said. He kept reading. Seawater from both the Gulf and the bay covered the whole island. Those who fled to higher ground had a better chance of surviving. Many found safety in tall, sturdy buildings, such as the Tremont House Hotel and the Ursuline Academy. Morgan's message makes perfect sense now, said Annie. We have to help people. We literally have to tell them to seek high ground now, and do not delay. She turned back to the elderly couple at the next table. And there's Jack and Annie, and they're talking to the elderly couple at the next table. Excuse me, but we have information that a powerful hurricane is coming here today, she said. Everyone needs to seek high ground. Or go to the Tremont House, Jack said, or the Ursuline Academy. The woman smiled back. You're both so sweet wanting to help everyone. We're expecting a bad storm, but not a hurricane, she said. She's right, the man said, and we're used to bad storms here. That's why many of our houses are raised up on pillars. It keeps the floodwaters from coming in. Jack just nodded. Okay, thanks, he said. He didn't know what else to do. He couldn't show them a book from the future. Jack, we have to tell someone in charge, Annie said. How about that policeman? He should be the one to warn everyone. Okay, said Jack. Jack put their Texas book back into his knapsack. Annie grabbed their umbrella. They hurried over to the policeman. Excuse me, sir, said Annie. We have reliable information that Galveston is about to have the worst natural disaster in U.S. history. That's right, sir, said Jack, trying to sound calm. Everyone needs to seek higher ground or find shelter in tall, sturdy buildings. The jolly-looking policeman grinned. And where did you kids get your information, he said. Someone told us, said Jack. Someone really smart. Well, shame on them for scaring you, the policeman said. I spoke to our local weatherman this morning. He said we're going to have strong winds and some bad rain, but nothing more. But he's wrong, sir, said Annie. We're telling you the facts. I don't want you to worry, little girl, the policeman said kindly. Why don't you go have fun with all of the young folks down on the strand? They're having a grand time watching the big waves roll in. I was just down there." Annie whirled back to Jack. "The Strand," she said. "That's the lowest ground." "Oh no," said Jack. "We have to warn them." "Thanks for the tip," Annie said to the policeman. Then she and Jack raced out into the driving rain. Water was rushing down the sidewalk. Jack struggled to open their huge umbrella, but the wind yanked it from his hand and carried it down the block. "Oh no, there goes our umbrella," said Jack. "That's okay," said Annie. "We're already soaking wet anyway." With the rain pounding them, Jack and Annie started down 25th Street toward the Strand. "The storm's getting bad," shouted Annie. "And it's going to get a lot worse," said Jack. The wind pushed them down the street to the waterfront. Clam shacks, candy stores, and gift shops lined the boardwalk along the Strand. A crowd of sightseers, young and old, stood on the beach, cheering the huge waves. The waves hit a long pier, and seawater shot into the air. The water splashed against the bathhouse on the pier, where swimmers changed their clothes in sunny weather. Annie and Jack dashed across the Strand to the beach. "Listen, everyone," shouted Annie. "You're all in danger. A huge storm surge is coming. Leave the beach." "Run to higher ground," shouted Jack. "Now! Now!" "Uptown!" yelled Annie. "Go uptown now!" Jack and Annie both yelled as loudly as they could, but no one seemed to hear them over the roar of the waves. Jack moved closer to the crowd. "Listen! Listen, everyone!" he yelled. "A terrible storm is coming! The worst natural disaster in U.S. history!" "Jack!" Annie screamed. "Jack, look! The storm surge!" Jack turned around. Out at sea, the waves were gigantic. The storm surge had begun. That was the end of chapter 3. See you next time for chapter 4. Bye.